Late drama in South Wales and nearly some self-harmer in the East End of Glasgow. We're back! Play the intro, Morg.
Hello ladies and gents and welcome back to the Football Booth Podcast, episode 18. My name is Fennan, joined alongside me, the best right hand man I could ever ask for. I've got Mayhem. How are you doing, my good man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I've had my first, I was going to say my first weekend off in a while. It was a lie, because obviously you was over and I was booked off. My first kind of natural 2 days off at the weekend, so should feel refreshed and ready, but it's Monday as we record, so wishing that weekend extended one more day.
Would have preferred a nice long weekend from Friday to Monday. That's always the dream, but
it's coming up.
It comes to fruition. But is it coming up though? It's coming up for you though.
Good Friday, Easter Monday.
Same here. There we are.
It is the perks of working in a school and working in a banker. So yeah, we are creeping towards that magical period.
It is, and there's plenty of football during that time as well, which is fantastic as well. As you can tell, I'm a little bit more upbeat, I'm a bit more loud. That's because, well, one, my partner's not home this evening, and two, we had some fucking juicy football over the weekend, I must say. But that's going to come on later on in this episode. But we're going to start things off the way we always like to start things off. I like to get Mayhem rolling. I like him to get the wheels spinning. Celtic got back to winning ways in cup competition. In the I believe it was the semi-final of the Scottish Cup.
No, quarters, so we're into the semis.
So you're into the semis now. You do face the Huns in the semi-finals?
No, it's not been drawn as of yet, so Hearts play Morton. I think they kick off in about 10 minutes as we speak, and the draw will be...
Hearts and Morton.
So the draw will be done after that. So it is obviously
Did Morton get a bye to the semi-finals by any chance?
Quarterfinals.
Did they get same thing in that sense? But anyway, but nevertheless, look, you came away with a 4-2 victory over Livingston on Sunday. Really good result. A hat-trick from Dazen Maeda, and I'm pretty sure you were asking yourself, where the hell has that been for the last 2-3 seasons or so? But look, enlighten us as to what took place Sunday afternoon between Celtic and Livingston.
I see another fan reaction, and it kind of summed it up really poetically and nicely, and the title was almost Maeda, me out of that. And I thought that was good. We can't steal that for the title, but fair play to you.
Oh, we definitely... Well, I don't know. I'm tempted to. I haven't made the thumbnail yet, so mate, that could be written off.
But yeah, but Dazen Maeda showing the good, bad, and the damn right ugly of him all in one game, as he so often does. The guy's an oxymoron that sometimes produces.
He's a fantastic athlete, as we've stated.
Yeah. But yeah, so Livingston and Tan, I think last week kind of maybe shone the light on how much sort of back and forth Celtic have given, because I actually thought Livingston were coming here for a league game, didn't even realise it was a cup. So when it was,
I think we both said like it was a league game, and I think I stated it last week as well. But yeah, cup game. Nevertheless,
when it dawned on me that I'd be having to scramble around trying to find a Viaplay channel to watch that on legally.
Mate, Sky Sports didn't even show us goal scorers until earlier today.
So, it was grand, and then the Dorset tones of Michael Stewart on commentary, lovely.
Your favourite.
And obviously we'd heard the news that Callum McGregor is looking like he's maybe going to need surgery, and he's maybe going to have to be managed towards the end of the season, so he's definitely going to be out for a few games, going to miss the international break with Scotland, and then I'm guessing that we can manage the Achilles injury that he has. Cameron Carter-Vickers apparently tweaked something in training and was left out as a precaution. So in come Stephen Welsh to partner Liam Scales. And yeah, looking at the team, kind of give you the fear a wee bit. You've got Scales and Welsh. Scales definitely gone off with a boil in the second half of the season, not quite the levels of the first half. Taylor's, I think he's found it quite tough over the last couple of weeks. Alistair Johnson, again, he's tailing off a wee bit, from kind of his start to the club. Awata and, Paulo Bernardo, we're in. Matt O'Reilly, that's definitely gone off the ball since January. And then Nicholas Kuhn out on the right, Adam Eder up top, and Maida on the left. So I'm kind of thinking, fuck me, I'm glad it's Livingston.
I know we said last week it was like, how what is the mindset telling you going into Sunday's fixture with Livingston? And like you said, you were very unsure based off of last week's result, and it could have gone one way or the other, but thankfully it went in the favour of Celtic, and you came away with I guess it was a somewhat comfortable victory in a way.
But I think, the scoreline flatters us because we scored 2 late goals in terms of the overall scoreline. I think in terms of the overall game, we ran out winners. Livingston done what Livingston do. They sat back and potentially had a 7-man defence at times, and they had a gigantic squad of players. Just every fucker they're bringing off the bench was 6'6". So we knew the game plan, and we started all right. Nicholas Kuhn, who I have lambasted since joining as a ball roll cutback merchant, had his best game in a Celtic jersey by far. We had
after
a little bit of news
in the shirt, yeah.
But we had a wee bit of news beforehand. Apparently, he'd had some trouble with his teeth and he couldn't eat properly, and he'd shed weight, and he wasn't at optimal fitness levels, which may have been helpful in us forming an opinion
excuse,
on the guy.
By the way, that is a really poor excuse.
Well, I mean, if the guy's not fit, right, then maybe you can make allowance. The guy, there's absolutely no doubt there's a lot of people.
You signed Nicholas Kuhn, not fucking Bevo. What do you mean problem with their teeth?
Yeah, well, anyway, that emerged that he wasn't firing on all cylinders. Yeah. So potentially we've gone out and we've judged him pretty harshly, because really he was the marquee guy. He's our permanent signing in January. He does on loan, but he's the guy that we've gone out and signed. But really the spotlight was on him. So this news has come out right now. You're fit and firing. Now you're up to speed. Are we going to see anything different?
Now you've got retainers, yeah, so you can eat and comment.
Have we judged you harshly? And the answer is maybe, because he was good, he was direct, he did go past people's. In caveats, we've got to say
he had retainers.
It's Livingston. But obviously, early on, cuts him from the wing, clips it over to Maeda. Very unlike Maeda, takes a good first touch, and then amazingly, that allows him to be in a position where he can score goals. So
what position is that?
In the box, in and around, in between the circumference of the goal, between the sticks, but puts us 1-0 up. And at that point, you're thinking, happy days. This is going to be an easy day's work here. We've gone 1 up. We're just going to control the game. We're going to get another. We're going to cruise off into the hat. Well, that was wrong. It's pretty shortly after we've scored, they just play this clipped long ball from their own half. Alistair Johnson is, I don't know, he's just run towards the wing. I think there's maybe a player there distracting him. Stephen Welsh hasn't come across. There's this gaping gap. Mackay goes through the middle. Still no pressure on him. He's 20 yards out, 10 yards out. Still really no pressure on him. 6 yards out, fires it in the top corner without us ever really getting a man near him. So you think, all right, that was pretty shocking. And then we revert to type, and the game is very much that we have the ball and we're probing, and we're doing all right. Break him down again. Matt O'Reilly's the extra man, hits a shot, blocked, comes back to the defender. O'Reilly reacts, nicks it off him, shoots again. Keeper saves it. Maida follows through. Open goal, manages to hit the keeper, and it goes in. So that's what I mean. So
Jesus Christ,
we've had the good from Maeda, good touch goal. The bad, you nearly missed an open goal. We'll get to the ugly later on. So 2-1. 2-1 half time, and again you're thinking, all right, we've been all right. We're missing key bodies, the likes of Carter Vickers, McGregor, big, not just players, they're big characters in the team. And we've got firepower on the bench, the likes of Kyogo, the likes of, I was thinking maybe Rocco Vatax, it was a cup game, stuff like that. I was wrong. And going to the second half, again, probing a wee bit, not doing too much, not really testing the keeper all that much, but well in control of the game. And then all of a sudden, Matarali gets caught on the ball in his own half. They're in at the back line, one pass, puts the big, tall striker in, which doesn't really single him out for anyone at Livingston. They're all big and tall. But Matarali, to his credit, gets back, but then he just allows him to shift onto his right foot and he rockets it into the bottom corner. And you're at 2-2. And you're thinking, oh, fuck. I've seen this story before. I really don't like this.
Yeah.
We had a shaky 5 minutes. They had a free kick. They get a header from about 7 yards. Joe Hart makes a good save, and it's a massive save. So if we go 3-2 down, unfortunately, the truth is the crowd would have turned toxic. It would have become a really difficult place for the, for the boys to play their football.
Yeah, of course.
So Joe Hart makes a big save, huge moment in the game, and then pressure's back on. We're again back to probing, back to playing, and eventually we get the breakthrough. Nicholas Kuhn goes off with what didn't look great. He's holding his hamstring, which isn't. Hopefully, it's just a just to be.
Glad it's nothing to do with his teeth.
Yeah, but Awata, good interplay. Awata's into the box, fires it across. Maeda gets his hat trick, and you're thinking, brilliant. Maeda could have had a fourth, but he managed to miss an open goal from 3 yards.
Is that the ugly factor coming into play?
That's the ugly. 3 yards out could have put the game absolutely to bed.
Oh no!
Thunders it off the bar, and that is Daisy Maeda. The athletic ability he has, the speed he has, the raw pace he has. If he had the likes of dribbling or finishing, he wouldn't be playing for Celtic because he'd be a £60 million player.
That's it. Just the attributes of a natural footballer, he would be quality.
Because of his athleticism, he would be well out of our price range. So, on a good day, he's an incredible asset, but it just doesn't seem to have those all that much. Although he hasn't shaved his head, maybe that's the thing. Keep the hair days, and you seem to.
Has he got hair now? Must be a little bit.
He has a sort of 5 o'clock shadow.
Shadow. I bet he's got the worst hairline in football.
No, there's worse. There's worse.
There has been a lot worse. I've seen some absolute shockers over the years.
And then Kyogo finishes it off. Lino does his best to rule it out, even though you're told not to do that shite anymore. Puts his flag up as Kyogo puts the ball in the back of the net. VAR, draws the lines and can't find any reason not to give it. So begrudgingly, I guess they have to give it. And the game finishes 4-2. And overall, the performance deserved the win, although that isn't saying much because Livingston this season haven't really offered much. In fact, we've given up 2 goals to them. Really shows defensively, we're worrisome. We need Carter Vickers back. And we're gonna have to manage. Callum through, whatever injury he's got, and have him there for the big games. And obviously, 2 derbies coming up. A semi-final now, potentially a final. So there are big games coming. So we're gonna have to manage him and make sure that he's there when we need him. And then hopefully at the end of the season he can have the up that they're thinking he may need, and he'll be back, fighting fit, ready to go at the start of next season. So there's some things there that obviously Brandon needs to think about, but overall in the cup, it's about getting to the next round. I mean, it's a 5 out of 10 performance. Yeah. We've given up 2 goals, but on another day, we probably could have scored 5 or 6. We just haven't been
exactly, yeah. And it feels like when it comes to being on the field for that 90 minutes, it feels like that the high line system seems to really backfire on Celtic, and I think a big factor as well is not having Kyogo in his best form as well, as we've seen him in previous years. Like, they seem like they're big 2 key factors within the Celtic squad right now that is lacking.
Yeah, look, Celtic always are always going to play a high line. That's due to the amount of possession that we have. That's one of the constraints and one of the conditions of playing as a central defender at Celtic. It's why so many have come here and not been able to deal with it. The likes of people that have had decent careers, even in the Premier League, Shane Duffy. When you're asking him all of a sudden to come up and defend on the halfway line, he struggled. Nat Phillips, that's doing okay down in Cardiff now, couldn't defend from the halfway line, really struggled with the ball going over his head.
Yeah.
So it is a big thing. It's not an easy thing, and we've been lucky enough, certainly in my lifetime, to see some real amazing centre backs that done it. Obviously Virgil van Dijk, the standout. So we find these guys, but at times we go through these sort of periods where we're heavily reliant on one, and we're heavily reliant on Carter Vickers at the moment. And this last year, he's just started to pick up these niggles that are keeping him out, and we're having to rely on squad players that you can argue to or throw whether they should be at the club or not. But that performance showing, maybe you can get away with having a Carter Vickers and a Welsh, or a Carter Vickers and a Scales, but them together is a recipe for disaster. So hopefully he's back. Like they said, it was just a precaution. But yeah, look, Kyogo as well. And I don't know what's happened in the system. I think they were saying that was his 12th goal of the season in all competitions. And
That's
obviously
crazy for Kyogo as well. That's really crazy. I think that goes a long way in itself as well. Where do you feel like probably Brendan should have been back more than what he has done? Because in a sense, it's not really Brendan Rodgers' team, where he's had to really just sort of fill in those positions with players that may have performed really well under Ange or have got a big reputation.
Yeah, he certainly, I don't think, has been able to put his stamp on it and bringing in players. So there's that. But ultimately, we were looking at a side that was treble winners. He didn't come in. This wasn't like a normal managerial change where he's trying to pick a team up. This was the best team in the land. And at times, Kyogo has looked good this season. He's scored goals in the Champions League. And other times, he's just really lost this energetic youthfulness, almost like childlike sort of adaptation to playing the game. Just chases everything down, and he's really big smile on him, and he's kind of lost that a wee bit. And obviously Adam Eden's come in. He's done all right. He's bagged a few goals, a few important goals, and he's sort of wrestled away the starting jersey. Whether that continues or not as we go into the back end run, and whether Kyogo forces his way back in, who knows? But obviously a big factor. He's someone that's bagging.
Yeah, it's
20 goals a season.
Crucial, and and take into consideration that Adam Edo is only on loan until the end of the season, and if Brendan Rodgers can't get the best out of Kyogo, who is a proven goal scorer in the Central Premiership, and can't get him firing, like you said, 12 goals for the whole season so far, I think that's way below standards for someone of Kyogo's calibre.
Yeah, and maybe you're arguing that Ange's system was playing a wee bit different, and he was getting more chances, and the chances he's getting here, he's not in those natural positions, and there's loads of arguments. But ultimately, certainly the style and whatever Brendan's trying to implement.
I think a lot of fine margins come into play as well with certain aspects of how Brendan wants to attack.
I'd be shocked if Kyogo was still here in the summer, because again, Adam Eda's come in. Didn't have much of a goal scoring reputation coming in from down south, and it's not taken a lot to to take the starting position off of Kyogo. He obviously bags on the weekend, so he's in okayish form, and he scores a very Kyogo-esque goal where he's beat the offside chap through on goal and finished it. So look, he's going to have a massive part to play. He's a great player. If you can get him going and play and get in those positions where he thrives. So I have no doubt that he'll score some big goals if we go on to obviously meet the season expectations as we want. So yeah, it was good to see him score and good to be in the next round. But overall, there's some glaring vulnerabilities that
Yeah.
we can't put right now. Obviously, with nothing else.
Yeah,
at
and it's a very important spell of the season now, where you're approaching the split in the league. You go away to St Johnny next, and this is really the time now where you need those crucial players to step up, the likes of Kyogo and Carter Vickers getting back fit and being able to really push on through and challenge Rangers for the title.
They're at home to St Johnstone next, so it's a wee bit
You're
easier.
at home, sorry. Well, my apologies.
So Celtic Park is somewhere where we always expect to win, no matter who's coming.
Oh, sorry, it's Livingston you're away to. My apologies.
So we'll expect to get the job done there. Even if we are again without, and we probably will be. That's been confirmed, so we'd definitely be without Callum, and even Cardiff, because you would still expect us to get through that game and pick up maximum points. But I think we'll have to play better and defend better than certainly what we did on Sunday. But look, they all turn to be big games now. So who can hold it together, who can produce in the end with two derbies. Chances are that they'll end up settling the league. So, but the other games, you've got to take care of them, so that when you're going into these derbies, they're big, meaningful, and important games. So, we've got to get this out of the way, and then we can just breathe. That's that one done, and then full focus onto the next one. So, it's kind of a lull. It's strange to be, and I guess that's the standards that we've set. It's strange to be in a semi-final and 2 points or whatever is off the top, and coming off the back of getting to a semi-final, feeling just a tad deflated because we haven't blown them away, and maybe we're a victim of our own success in that regard. But I think realistically we need to go up a level if ultimately we're to do what we want to do, and that's win the league this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever asked you this question on the podcast before, but I know obviously Rangers played in the other quarter-final on Sunday as well against Hibs, and looking at the result from that, it felt like Hibs really did fold in that second half, where they had 2 men sent off and they finished the game with 9 men. Like, what are the big deciding, I wouldn't say deciding factors, but what are the vast differences that you can tell right now with Rangers and Celtic?
I don't know if there's vast differences. The Scottish mainstream media would like you to believe that.
I don't believe them, don't worry. I never do.
Philip Clement is a second coming of,
Never believe that, just to disclaim right now. Never
Pep
believe
Guardiola, and Brendan Rodgers doesn't know how to win things. But I think, if we're being honest, and I think if you were to ask most Celtic fans, we're in a title race, but we're in a title race, and it's 2 pretty poor teams. And it will just be who can find form and up their levels towards the end. So I don't think there's much. Obviously, they had the game against Motherwell.
Yeah, and I was going to say there was certainly some vulnerabilities being shown by Rangers in that game as well, and especially when they're playing at Ibrox on their home ground, and the fact that they came away with no points whatsoever.
I think probably one of their biggest strengths is their defence. Connor Goldton's been there for years, Tavernier's been there for years, and that builds that kind of security. Jack Butland's is undoubtedly come in and done well. Yeah. And then I think where we get stronger, through the midfield and towards the top end of the pitch, we're definitely weaker in the defensive areas. So sometimes, they can defend, not play really well, defend, and then because their strength is defence, they win the game 2-0 and it seems fairly comfortable and it's a good result. We scrap away and score 4 and concede 2 to Livingston, and it's Celtic have nearly made a real meal out of that. So I think that's the difference, and the way that it's portrayed. They can play poorly against Kilmarnock like they did a few weeks ago and win the game, whether they won it 1-0 or 2-0, play not overly brilliantly against Hibernian as they did yesterday, and come away winning 2-0, and then there's a different sort of dynamic on they're doing really well, and obviously because they're then stronger defensively, they go away and get results like they did in Europe, and that kind of ups where people think they are because they got a draw at Benfica. But ultimately, we've played them twice this season.
Was that the first leg, by the way? Was that the first leg? Yeah, okay.
We've played them twice this season. We've beaten them twice this season. I think the fact that they open up and try and play against us, because they just go at us the way that the derby is. It plays into our hands, and gives our players the ability to really shine. Whereas if they were to go just to be a bit more compact and hit us on the counter and really hurt us the way that other teams have, they may be actually more successful. But again, it's the standards of both of these clubs. If they were to do that and it was to go wrong, they would be absolutely lambasted. And Giovanni Van Bronckhorst showed us that when you maybe try to be a wee bit more standoffish and it goes wrong, then you're going to get yourself in bother. Philip Clement come to Celtic Park.
Feels like a long time ago with Giovanni Bronckhorst at the helm, doesn't it?
Philip Clement come to Celtic Park, the all-conquering Messiah, and yeah, he got beat as well. So there is those elements of we can. I don't think they're an overly spectacular team. They certainly, when you're looking at results, they're probably in slightly better form than us. But it's going to be nip and tuck. It'll be, the derbies will be massive. Normally, kind of home advantage is massive. And obviously with no away fans, and you're in a cauldron of noise, it's really difficult for the away team to play that out. But there's probably still a couple of twists, whether that's for us and us dropping points, and then that propels them further away, or they drop points, and it's the guts of a result. One bad result can mean that you're second, or a good result takes you to the top of the table.
And the next derby comes at quite a tough time as well. So correct me if I'm wrong. The next derby does come after the international break. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it does because you play St Johnstone next weekend, and then it's the international break, and then you come back and you play Rangers at Ibrox.
Yeah, it'll be a big game, and obviously.
No, hang on. No, it's Livingston. What am I talking about? No, it's not. Yeah, it's Livingston. No, it's Livingston you play after the international break, and then it's Rangers. Yeah, 7th of April, a week after Livingston on the Sunday.
Yeah, so, they were never.
But again, still a tough period where you've got to readjust, and where players have come away from international duty. The game against Livingston is going to be vital in terms of how the team does react, how grounded they are approaching that game, and then the momentum from the Livingston game is going to be a big part going into that derby.
Yeah, it's about going on these, this championship run now, about going and putting wins together and showing why you're champions. Exactly. Putting in big performances, getting the points, and really cranking the pressure up on a team that hasn't been in this position all that often. And historically, in recent history, when they have been in this position, they've shat the bed. So, yes, they have a different manager, maybe they have a different mentality, but they're the same players. They're the serial loser, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Lundstrom.
Serial loser, I love that term.
All these boys are just fantastic at losing to Celtic. So if the pressure gets cranked up, I'm sure old demons come out, and I think it will boil down to the old cliche in Scotland is the title's won and lost in the derby. So I'm sure they'll be feeling fairly confident with us going to Ibrox, and if they were to win, obviously they stretch it out. But if we were to get a draw there and keep it tight, then we're fairly confident. But then come to Celtic Park that we can overtake them.
Yeah, well, Paul Clement will probably be on the phone a week prior to the game for a new mattress. So fingers crossed. I don't know.
He's well and truly drunk the Kool-Aid, but. Let's veer across, because it seems like you're drinking some Kool-Aid of yourself, some Erol Bulut served up Kool-Aid.
It's called Abro.
Delivering.
Oh my word! I can shout as well because my missus isn't home this evening.
Late Late drama.
Talk about late. It went over time. Mate, I mean, initially I could start off very, very, not very Kool-Aid-esque, but I can start off very modest and say that we produced a very good result midweek, Wednesday last week against Huddersfield.
Massive. You spoke about
Massive
that.
result, massive result, 100%. And I said it was going to be crucial when we spoke last Monday. And yeah, we got the job done. Famara Jeju with his first goal for the club, absolutely massive. And we had, I wouldn't say we had a weather to storm the second half, but we had to really dig deep and essentially, like within the last 10 minutes where we got on the break, I think we easily could have scored 2 or 3 against Huddersfield that game. But the 1-0 result was good enough for myself and a lot for the Cardiff faithful. And then we had the big crucial game against Ipswich, the early kick-off on Saturday. And initially... Tractor boys, yeah, all right. Not tractor shaggers like we played fucking 1 week ago. Fucking tin pot bastards. But, no.
It's not for everyone, that, is it? Being Welsh and beating Bristol City. Not for everyone.
Double, what am I saying? So, yeah. But when initially approaching this game, I was happy with a point. I think with the run we've been on, and after the Huddersfield game where we'd won 3 on the bounce, it felt like the confidence was back. It felt like we were playing more characteristically, where we press, we'd attack, we'd defend in banks of 5 when we needed to, and it did look to be going that way on Saturday. I think the first half we were excellent, absolutely excellent. Like David Turnbull tested the keeper early doors. Josh Bowler has a good opportunity. Perry Ng very unfortunate to not get onto the rebound, and it was a scenario where the ball could have gone anywhere. And so
he's being booed. I think in the highlights, Turnbull was being booed by the away end. Did he?
I didn't hear that. I heard Kieffer Moore getting booed by the Cardiff faithful, which I must say right now I manifestly disagree with. I mean, he's a Welsh international for a start, and so yeah, there is a bit of a sentimental factor to that. But this is a guy who scored 20 goals for us in a very tough season. He announced in that summer that he had aspirations to go on and play Premier League football. We had a shit season at the time under Neil Harris, where we were really underperforming, underachieving, and he had a good offer come in from Bournemouth in that January transfer window of 2022, I believe it was, and he jumped ship and he went with my best wishes. I don't understand why he was booed. I don't know if that was really to try and deteriorate his performance, but I mean, ultimately it didn't work because you know what I mean, like, and so
to his credit, he didn't celebrate either. So even
and this is the thing, but like I said, it was a good finish. It was a really good goal, and he didn't celebrate. Like I said, I have nothing against Kieffer Moore whatsoever. I mean, he made the right move in terms of his career. He went to a club that would chase him promotion, that he could potentially get a permanent move to and get week in, week out football, like first team wise. And I will always stand by that, completely. And so we had that first half, we played really well, we couldn't capitalise on any chances we had. And then so the second half came, we stepped off the pedal a bit. Like I said, we played that 2 banks of 5 where we stepped off, we allowed Ipswich to have possession, and then it came to the 80th minute and we gave Kieffer too much space. He gets a shot across goal on his weaker foot, finishes exquisitely. And at that point it was like, right, we now need to go at them. We've got to do everything we can in our power to get a point off of them. And I think Erol Bulut really hit the nail on the head when making the changes. He brought on Callum, who looked really sharp when he came on against Bristol City the previous weekend. He brought on Ruben Colwill, who's been one of our best outlets all season for David Turnbull. Got Bowler off, who I thought was very ineffective the second half, because he's one of those who likes to hold up possession and try and really pinpoint an opening, and that just didn't seem to work the second half. And so It comes to the 90th minute. 8 minutes go up on the board.
Before that, Callum Adalda doing his best days in Maeda impression at the back post as well.
Well, that was an added time as well. Funny enough, that was an added time, and so again, it felt like at that point it was going to be one of those days where we just couldn't hit the back of the net, which we're far too familiar with, and so it was like, right, we got to pick ourselves up and go again, and then and I must say, like, Ruben Colwill makes one of the best runs I've ever seen that boy make. He makes this beautiful run in between two defenders. It's going. I thought he'd go towards the box. He goes away from the box, picks the ball up from KG, gets a ball in, back post. O'Dowda nods it down. We're very fortunate with Ipswich not clearing their lines, and Ryan Wintle, who by a massive land mile, he is man of the match in that game. The guy worked his arse off. He got his goal that he thoroughly deserved, and he put us back on level terms with Ipswich. And at that point, I've already screamed the apartment building down. I've screamed it down. I've gone mental. I'm buzzing with a point. But with the celebrations kicking into play, that adds on a bit more time to the 8 minutes that were initially added on. Carl Grant gets the ball on the right wing. That's where he was moved out to, because we had Callum on the left. Beats his man, wins a corner, and then I'm thinking at that point, like, oh, the ref's not going to let us take this corner at this rate. I'm thinking, like, if he lets us take this corner, then I'll be very surprised. Rulesy whips the ball in. Best position he could have put it into. He puts it in between Jeju and NG. Juggle in the box. NG does like the most awkward scissor kick I've ever seen in my life of football. Finds the back post, and O'Dowda, outside foot of his left foot, finds the roof of the net. And it's just pandemonium. It's pandemonium in the Canton stand. And there's no place I would rather have been than in this computer chair right now than to be in that Canton end, because I would have fucking flown over that stand, and I would have been in that huddle. I would have been carried off by the stewards. I don't give a shit. Maria may have been next to me and she would have disagreed with everything I've done. I don't give a shit. We found a 100-minute winner, and the best thing I can do is literally like fling this chair out from behind me, rip my shirt off, run round the apartment. Maria's not home at this point. I'm fucking run round. Long story short, I think the neighbours hate me right now. But they are well aware that Cardiff City are in the running for the fucking playoffs. That's what it says on paper, right? I'm still trying to keep myself grounded and think, right, let's take it a game at a time. But the magnitude and the importance going into next Saturday against those Jacks, one, because we have the best opportunity of getting the double over them, which we have never done in our history. Two, they've done the double over us in the last 2 seasons, and that is still PTSD in my eyes and in my fucking chest. And 3, we beat those Jack bastards. We are within a matter of points of the likes of West Brom, Hull City, Coventry. We are up there right now, and I'm still in disbelief about that. And my firm belief at the start of the season was to get mid-table, get a good few respectable results over our rivals, and we can rebuild for next season. But in comparison to last month to where we are right now, I mean, not only does it go to show how crazy the Championship season is this season, where it's such fine margins from as low as Sheffield Wednesday in 23rd place up to Watford, who are in 12th, 13th place. I feel right now, as a Cardiff City fan, that we have avoided relegation. I think we've got to, we're on that 53 points. We've avoided that scrap. As long as things don't go terribly wrong in the next couple of weeks, I think we've got to carry this momentum over. If we beat the Jacks, we've got the world against us. Every game's a cup final. And who the fuck knows where we may end up. And that's the approach we've got to have every game. This is the closest we have been, characteristically, from the start of the season, that we've been. And, and big characters like Aaron Ramsey, who has been ruled out with injury as of late, has said that he may be fit to feature, not play, but feature in the South Wales derby.
I fucking told you.
I mean, it's written in the stars, mate. It's written in the stars. It's written in the stars. Like, he's a player.
The Liberty's going to fall into darkness, and then just going to dong, and Aaron Ramsey's going to appear in the penalty box.
The dead man, Undertaker. But honestly, like, I wouldn't change one cell from that starting lineup against Ipswich. Purely because Erol Bulut got those changes right.
I think O'Dowda starts.
That's the one individual that I'm deciding over. Does he drop Bowler or Grant for O'Dowda? In which sense, O'Dowda goes on the left, KG goes on the right, or he keeps Bowler there because technically he's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, like, when it comes to the end of the season, and we do our player ratings as we like to do, at the moment I'd give Josh Bowler a 5 because it's been very in the middle. He's had fantastic moments, but I don't feel he's really fulfilled his potential as he's shown at Blackpool the previous season. And so it's a very conflicting matter between Bowler and Grant. But I would absolutely love O'Dowda to go into that game with the confidence he's got, for him to get the winner against a team that prior to that game had only lost 4 games the entire season. You can't not start him.
I think in these games as well, it's so important, and this is the old cliche, and it pisses a lot of people off, but I think it does ring true. People that understand this level of atmosphere, that have played in this type of game. Like, I think Turnbull will be good because he's played in, obviously, the Glasgow derby. He's played in that intense environment. I was thinking the exact same
thing, and I'd start him over Colwill initially, by the way.
But you look at O'Dowda, used to play for Bristol. Has been down there, has seen the hostility. He's scored a massive goal. Must be on cloud 9, and then you've got the backup, and you can switch it up if it's not feeling, and you can make the subs from the bench. That Erol masterclass in terms of that on the weekend, getting them right. So, but yeah, it's a huge weekend.
Massive, mate, absolutely massive. And I've been critical in the past of Erol Bulut's changes that he's made, not the changes that he has made, but the time of the game he's made those changes. Where, Exhibit A, he's made changes against Plymouth Argyle where we're 2-1 up on the 60th minute, and he's brought off our 2 best attacking outlets in Colwill and Atete on the night. He's brought on 2 defenders, and we've gone and conceded, and then there's just no intensity going forward, and it's too early to make those sorts of changes in a way, because you've still given them a huge window of time to get back into it and to find a late goal. And then, like I said, where it's so early, you're also encouraging them to go on and go for a winner. And Plymouth really, almost did that night. And so I feel he's got the timing correct with them. I think he's got the names, the individuals correct with the changes. And I'll sit here right now and say, I thoroughly enjoyed the result on Saturday. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed. But I walked into work this morning, and I'm already feeling anxious for Saturday's game against the Jacks. And I really, really hope that the boys have taken that under consideration, got on the field today, and have really knuckled down to focus for the derby on Saturday.
Yeah, and again, having characters like Aaron Ramsey at the club, someone that it means so much to. Like, let's be honest, if he gets on the field at the Liberty, he's nowhere near fit, he probably shouldn't be on that game. There's every chance he plays 20 minutes at the Liberty.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's a game to be won, he comes on for 20 minutes, and then we don't see him for the rest of the season. There's every chance.
And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. 100% happy with that.
What he will install, if he's, obviously he's got to be training to some degree because, they're thinking maybe we can get 20 minutes out of him. He'll install that. And, it was the Cardiff team, that obviously won the first derby of the season and won in the capital. That was a different Cardiff. And having characters like him in and around and really bringing it home, I think that's massive. And there's no doubt that Swansea have had that, maybe not, boys from Swansea in there, but they've had people that get it like that. Fucko Grimes in midfield. He's been at the club so long.
Grimes, Jamie Patterson, they've
been there that long that they, they know the importance of those games, and what it can do for them is turn a mediocre season into, they didn't do the double over us, so we'll kind of write the season off. And they understand it's a massive opportunity because they've been massively under par. They're coming off the back of a really disappointing result as well for them, so they'll want to bounce back. But yeah, you've so much momentum going into it, and you're in the best spot you could be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this is the best place we've been in a very long time. And I'm talking about not only the position in the table, but the fact that we've gone four wins on the bounce. We've beaten a promotion contender in Ipswich, who had only lost 4 times this season, as I've stated. This is the best opportunity we have of getting a result over them, getting a double over them, which will be historical for us as a club, and then seeing how far we can really go for the rest of the season. Because if we beat Swansea, regardless of every other club's reputation, we'll approach every single game like a cup final. And there's no reason why we shouldn't, because we are so close. I spoke to my auntie on the phone earlier before we jumped on here, and she was saying to me that she doesn't want us to go up. She'd rather stay us in the Championship. I had to, in a weird way, I had to disagree with that, because her excuse was we're not ready for the Premier League. My question for her was, which team is ready for the Premier League? Unless you get sufficient,
Leicester.
Unless you get sufficient
Leeds,
if you
Southampton.
This is the thing, but unless you get sufficient financial backing. Like we've seen at Wolves, prime example, heavily backed by their super agent George Mendes. Brentford, who have been financially backed. There's been clubs that have gone up and managed to solidify their place in the league. That's not the aspect I'm looking at it from. The Premier League has a worldwide interest from investors.
He doesn't sell if you go up, mate. Not a chance. You's going up means you deal with Tan for another 3.
I know we do. But being in the Premier League gives us the best opportunity for us.
Yeah, look, the money's too big. All that money coming through, he won't. I very much doubt he'll invest the same way that he did the first couple of times, because you've been bit with it.
I'm not talking about him investing. I'm talking about him selling up, though.
But that's what I mean. That the money that comes from the Premier League, there will just be too much of it for him to want to walk away. Even the parachute payments afterwards. So, it would be, of course, I think that's head and heart. Your heart wants Cardiff to go up, and your head's saying we're not ready, and this probably means that Tan stays for at least another 3 years, because you've got the promotion, obviously the season that you're up, and then the parachute payments afterwards. He's not ducking on any of that money. And then you're back in.
But but again, this is the conflicting factor. Like, if we stay as a Championship club, I mean, already I feel like he's going to sell the club for, at a push, 2/3 of what you bought it for. He's already lost 200 million within the club on transfers and making losses left, right, and centre. I feel if we do manage to, again, this is very hypothetical, if we manage to get ourselves promoted to the Premier League and stay up for 1, maybe 2 seasons. I don't get me wrong. In my head, I'm thinking that's not happening. That is dreamland within the slightest. But that really is the best opportunity where we're going to attract potential investors.
Yeah, but you've also got to remember that he doesn't have football people around him. What he has is business people around him. So what they're going to do is outline the profit margins of the season in the Premier League, and then the growth of merchandise and everything else that comes with Premier League, the season ticket sales, because all the wee fickle little bastards that wouldn't turn up against Ipswich at home, they're going to be there when City roll in.
Well, there was wee fickle little bastards that were calling Bulut out in January.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. These people turn up, so the stadium will be packed, more merchandise, all that stuff. So he's not leaving the first season, even if for much as what you're saying, he's only going to recuperate 2/3. So he wants to make that extra third back through the, the promotion, the 90 million or whatever it is through the playoffs. Then the merchandise. Then at the end of the Premier League season, that's when you get all the your TV rights and everything come in. So he's not going to sell through the Premier League season because he's going to cash in on that money, and then by that point probably back down. Players are leaving as well, so that there's going to be this in and out. By that point, if you're having a poor season, he's probably sacked Bulut as well. So you've had to bring in a new manager. So it's a catastrophe. Of course, you want your team to do. Of course, you want them to go up. And, there's no discussion about that. You want the best.
But in terms of like the football quality and the atmosphere, of course, I want to stay in the Championship. I'll stay in the Championship forever.
That parasite will not leave the football club if there's that amount of money coming in.
Yeah, honestly, like someone would have to shoot him or he'd have a stroke at some point. I don't know.
We're not condoning that.
We're not going to. No, absolutely, absolutely not.
Peaceful protests.
Yeah, peaceful.
Yeah.
Are you watching Vincent Tan? Please do not have a stroke. Right. That's staying in. I don't give a shit. But I feel like if there's any potential investment made in the club, I feel our best opportunity does come in the Premier League. When it comes to the standard of football and the atmosphere and what it really does bring to the club, like the emotion, the adrenaline. Of course, I'd love to stay in the Championship. Absolutely. It's more enjoyable than the Premier League because the Premier League, you win. If you win, of course. Because this is what I said to Arnie Mangs as well. I said, like, my biggest fear being in the Championship is relegation because it's such a long way back up. It's such a long way back up because not only have you got to rebuild for League One because you're going to lose players, it's given. You're going to lose players going down to League One. You've got to rebuild yourselves to get yourself back up to the Championship. And then it's another rebuild in that in itself. And that's where I've got to give credit to Ipswich for, because the team they've managed to build, the business they've managed to pull off, and to find themselves where they are right now is just absolutely recommendable. Like McKenna as Ipswich manager has got my vote for Manager of the Year, 100,000,000%. I think he's done an absolutely astounding job with Ipswich. And even if he doesn't end up as a Premier League manager with Ipswich by the end of the season, I think he'll have some interest. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah, definitely. He's a fantastic job he's done. Like you said, on a budget, I don't know what Ipswich budget is comparable to the rest of the league, but when they're fighting against, the Goliaths in the Championship like Leicester, Southampton, Leeds, even the likes of West Brom, Middlesbrough, with the stadium and the facilities, Sunderland as well with the stadium and the facilities, that generate that kind of revenue. And so they've done an incredible job. Let's be honest, that no one see them top half of the table, when everyone's rolling out the predictions.
Absolutely not whatsoever. No,
and they've done that. They've done that. Norwich, I think, done it. Southampton done it. That they've just kept the good times rolling.
Yeah, and like the Nigel Atkins era, Southampton, the Alex Neil era under Norwich.
If they were to go up, then I think we've seen as well. That if you can keep that going, then that they could have a really positive impact. It'd be great to see him back. But there, there's some big games as well. They'll be looking at that East Anglian derby. Absolutely desperate to get one over on their
It'll be a
rival.
tough game approaching as well because Norwich have been on a good run of form as of late as well. They've been climbing up the table, and again, they'll be talking on paper, it'd be a huge contender for us to compete with when it comes to filling up those playoff spots. Because it feels like West Brom have opened up a gap over Hull and Coventry and Norwich, and so they'll be hard to catch in themselves in 5th place. So yeah, massive fixture. Massive fixture.
Huge, and looking forward to it. Should be tasty. It is a wee bit mad that only 2 out of Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, and Southampton are going to go up automatically. Yeah. 2 of those are going to be in the playoffs, and 1 of them isn't going to get to go up.
It's been the most competitive Championship campaign that's ever been. I mean, in a long time, as far as I can remember, because, like you said, Leeds, Leicester, Ipswich being an absolute wild card, being up there and fighting with 2 teams that were recently relegated from the Premier League, has just completely thrown everything into the unknown. And Southampton, who fall just out of that bracket, but again, they were one of those teams that fell out of the Premier League last season. It makes everything so. This is what's so great about the Championship. There's no predictions behind it. Like it's a complete stab in the dark in terms of who your top 6 is going to be, who your bottom 3 is going to be.
I mean, you can. It is like, I know it is competitive. You can normally bank that those 3 that fell out of the Prem will be in and around the top 6. Now, there's outliers, of course. Norwich have had a few poor seasons since they've come down, but no surprise that the likes of Leeds and Leicester and Southampton are up there. But then, we look back a couple of years ago. Huddersfield are in the playoffs now. They're scrapping relegation. Borough are not doing great, and they were 1 game away from Wembley last year.
Yeah.
So it can. The season can turn on its head, and there is always wild cards. A whole City have come back to fruition this season. Coventry have gone again, and obviously were a penalty shootout away from being in the Premier League, and they've managed to come again. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that they would potentially fall off, especially after they lost their big striker, whose name I can't pronounce.
Oh, Victor Gyökeres. Well, this is the guy that has scored the most goals in the top tier of European competitions. I think it's him and Luke de Jong. Victor Gyökeres has hit like 30 goals already.
Where is he? Portugal? Did he go?
Yeah. He went to Sporting Lisbon, and mate, he is firing for fun. And so, I mean, the fact that Coventry have managed to produce what they have done this season without that someone of that calibre, I think goes to show the hard work that has been produced.
Yeah, he was a very good player.
Didn't like playing against him. Just to say, he was not fun.
Disappointment, I guess, for Coventry fans is that if they'd have won that penalty shootout, they probably got to enjoy him for at least 1 more year.
Yeah.
But
got a good sum of money from him though. I think it was about 15 to 20 million, which again,
still in this market, isn't it? Like, let's be honest.
know, and the Championship really does deteriorate there, though, doesn't it? Like, I mean, then again, is that really a valid argument? Newcastle got 30 million for Wijnaldum to Liverpool when they were a Championship side, so it's really hard to really just what the market really is like.
He wanted to go. They wanted a decent price, and he settled probably somewhere in the middle. He's certainly worth double that now. And if say, I don't know, trying to think, maybe a Tottenham, decided that, they wanted to bring in a striker, they'd be paying 50, 60 million for the guy, wouldn't they? So
I think that'd be generous at this point. I think it'd be highly generous. I think, likes of a Chelsea or a United or a Tottenham, they're looking at about 70 million, I reckon. Because I just personally feel like Portuguese clubs, I mean, this is we're thinking about the league that got 120 million euros for João Felix when he first went to Atletico. So I feel there's probably like a higher stance in the Portuguese market, and we
are also looking at the team that really got shortchanged on Pedro Porro, shortchanged on Bruno Fernandes. So they don't have this incredible. They don't have like a Benfica,
or
Porto-esque.
Yeah.
So when you've got Sporting, maybe that Champions League club, and then the lure of the Premier League, even if it was going to kind of someone that you could argue is quite similar in stature, because Sporting always just beneath them. If he was to go to say like a Chelsea or a Spurs now, that they're going to be sort of probably in the same mould, chasing down at the moment what would be Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. But he's firing. He's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That leaves I've just opened the door there. Talk about the Prem. We just segue beautifully.
Right. Now you mentioned Prem right now. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. So the big crunch fixture from this weekend was
Palace Luton.
Spot on. What was even the score in that?
1-1. Same score.
It was 1-1. I know. It was a 1-1 score. It was Liverpool and Man City. An early goal, early opener from John Stones, cancelled out by McAllister's equaliser from the penalty spot early in the second half. But a big decision that was made right in the depth of injury time in that fixture at Anfield was the high foot from Jeremy Doku. In my opinion, and you may disagree with me, Stonewall penalty.
I think it's a pen as well, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Why you're saying ridiculous. I think you may disagree with me is that I imagine you're watching it with two passionate City fans that were disagreeing with you quite well.
You know what? I said to Keane, I went, no, it's a penalty. I said to him, I literally showed up to it, and I had a few beers at this point. Like, this is after the game of darts we have on Sunday. I said to him, that's a fucking penalty. It's a penalty.
I think we've seen all season that kind of follow through where you've raised or you go up and you're in and around that upper torso that we've seen it punished all season. And I honestly think if it was not even if it was another big game, if that was Liverpool Man United, then they get the decision. But because the context behind it was this is massive for the league, they didn't want it to be a refereeing decision. And Michael Oliver said, I don't want to give that decision. It's gone to VAR. And is it clear and obvious? Probably not. It's a greyish area. But if you look back to Raul Jimenez getting sent off at St James's Park, where he's jumped through. Now I get that he's, bottom bit of his arse connects with the guy's head or whatever, but there's no force in it. His studs hasn't gone. Yes, he's connected with his head, but the guy's connecting with his, the upper part of his chest.
Well, we were having this argument, and again, I know it's a different league. We were having this argument with Yang when he got sent off as well, where he's gone to flick the ball over the defender's head, but it's caught him with a high foot. And again, it's like trying to, it's the initial thought of playing the ball first, but the follow through. That's what it is. Jota did it back a few months back against Tottenham. Again, it is a red card. I'm not disagreeing it's not a red card. And he catches his head. But again, it's the intention of play. Where, Doku's got the ball first, but the follow through, it's dangerous play.
We've seen it punished all season, and I'm amazed that when it goes to VAR that they don't ask him to go and have another look. I'm amazed that they didn't do that. But I think if it was the 70th minute, they asked him to go and review it because it's the defining moment, really, and you're giving Liverpool a chance to win the game at Anfield, and they've just said no, we'll leave that. It isn't clear and obvious. But Mike Dean, that was on commentary, he thought it should have been a penalty. and it's again it's another weekend, and it's another decision where there's a lot of debate about it, and VAR was meant to clear this stuff up, and it hasn't. But look, Liverpool have only themselves to blame. They should have been well ahead in the game, and they squandered a lot of chances. And I guess in the end they were a wee bit fortunate as well, because Doku slams the post and it bounces back to Keller. So I mean, Nathan Ake has an absolute brain fart as well. Like, what was he thinking? And Edison tries to kick Nunez out of the fucking stadium.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid from Ake. Absolutely, I didn't get the thought process behind it, and like that's I don't know. I honestly could not explain Ake's actions, but ultimately, how that leaves the league right now. So we've got Arsenal top, tied with Liverpool on points on 64, and Man City just behind the pair of them on 63 points.
Yeah.
Does definitely open up to a very, very intriguing title race. And
yeah, I think Arsenal are real contenders this year as well, because it's a year on.
Yeah.
It's a year on that they've been through that. I don't think they've the pressure of last season, because they were top for so long. They're kind of just emerging now, but they were going about their business very quietly, and they're just emerging now in March. So yeah, there's all to play for. You would imagine again that City will probably go deeper in the Champions League than Arsenal will, because I think on a European stage, I don't think they're quite ready for that. And you'd imagine that Liverpool still involved in, obviously they've won the Carabao Cup, they've still got the Europa League, they've still got the FA Cup. So they've a lot of things. I think Arsenal is still in the FA Cup as well. I think.
Yeah, Arsenal are still in the FA Cup as well. No, I think Arsenal will be.
I could be wrong about that.
No, I think they are in the FA Cup still.
Or did Liverpool beat them? Am I getting flashbacks to Liverpool beating them in the cup?
Oh shit! Did they beat them in the FA Cup? I don't know. You'll have to research that. But no, ultimately, I think I'm with you with Arsenal in that sense, where they led the Premier League for so long last season, and I think a lot of teams in
Liverpool beat them.
Liverpool beat them. So there's no FA Cup for Arsenal, and that only benefits Arsenal in the long run, because I think, in comparison to last season where they led the league for so long, and like I said, if it was any other team in that position, bar probably Man City, I wouldn't back them to come out as winners, because it's so difficult to defend the league, then chase the league down. And Arsenal they're not that team. They're not that team whatsoever. They haven't been that team for the last 20 years, when they won the Invincibles, where they were just a completely different breed, completely different mentality, different management, and that's what really saw them through. But I think nowadays,
at some point it has to change.
It does. It absolutely does. But
I think the additions that they've made, the leadership that they have on the field, the likes of Declan Rice, very vocal.
Who, by the way, who has stepped up massively in the last few weeks as well.
Yeah, I think they're better poised now to go on and really take it down to the wire. And it's a three-headed coin flip.
It really is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But from the dizzy heights from one end, and we'll just fire down to the bottom. So Sheffield United and Burnley are relegated, aren't they?
Oh, they're fucked, mate. Just leave it at that. Like they are absolutely fucked.
We get a point just about keep Forest within striking distance. I think they have a game in hand. They're 3 points behind Everton, 4 points away. But
they're just 2 weak sides. If I'm completely honest, they're
so strange, isn't it? Because everyone thought Burnley were going to.
I thought Burnley as well, and you would hate to hear that as well, because I know your thoughts on Burnley, and they'll always get a mention week in, week out of how much you hate them. I know, but I really thought that Vincent Kompany would really take them up a level Not like to the sense of like mid-table, but I
Has
thought
it?
they
Has
would
he been?
comfortably avoid relegation, and he just
Has
like
he been a wee bit naive?
most
Fa-
likely,
I
most
mean,
likely. Remember, he's still quite young as a manager as well. He's still
far
very
be it
young.
from far be it from me sitting here, but they played this open football, very un-Burnley-esque football. That's not even me having a dig. Very
Yeah, but it's
un-Burnley-esque,
still very unfamiliar to the club. It's still
and
very unfamiliar and
and the,
uncharacteristic. And so I feel that maybe, in a sense, that, and of course, like Burnley have lost some key players as well over the years, and especially last year when they've lost like Connor Roberts, who went to Fulham as well, because there's certain clubs now who are really trying to promote Welsh football, i.e. Leeds and Fulham. And so I don't think he's really had the backing that he expected. I think he took on a fairly decent squad when he took over at Burnley. He approached the Championship and thought, like, right, okay, this is a team that's recently been relegated. I've got that on my side. I could really push them, and again, I've still got some form of financial backing going into this campaign, and that's exactly what he got. He got them back up in the Premier League, and then he just hasn't pushed on with them.
it's just. I mean, you look at the result on the weekend. The 2-0 up. They're away from home. Like you would think, a team promoted that's just come up from the Championship will have a bit of dig, a bit of grit. Make sure that we take this 3 points home, and they can see 2 late goals, and they drop 2 points in the end.
I think it's just unfamiliar for Vincent Kompany, really. You imagine all the scenarios that he's been in the Championship, where, I mean, the Championship was a cakewalk for him and Burnley. They got promoted with ease. It was them, and it wasn't Sheffield United. Who went up with them? Fulham, was it?
No, Sheffield.
It
Yeah,
was Sheffield United. Okay, it was a cakewalk for the two of them. It was a two-horse race as to who finished top, who finished second. That's all it was. There was no, nothing like this Championship campaign where they got 5, 6 teams on their back. Nothing like that at all.
no, it
Absolutely
was.
nothing like that at all.
Yeah, they were breakaway, and I think Sheffield were followed a little closer by
Oh, it was
Luton.
Norwich, was it? No, it wasn't Norwich. Who the fuck was it? No,
Luton.
it was Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton. And that's it.
Yeah. So and then obviously Luton went on to win in the playoffs. But yeah, I think they were certainly Burnley were break, and deservedly so. They were formidable. They did so much damage to the and this is a weird segment where we're going to be talking them up. They did so much damage to the Championship. They had Reading celebrating the fact that they weren't going to break their maximum points total. Like fucking hell, how much PTSD can you drop on a division that you've got a team that's being relegated, celebrating that you haven't fucking got over 110 points? Fucking hell.
What can I say to that? Reading are fucked.
God love them as well, man. Because again, it just shows it shows the lack of.
The drop off though, and
But it just shows
again,
the
like
lack of.
I know they've had very very poor ownership.
But that's what I mean. The lack of thoroughness and the lack of due
Yeah,
diligence that goes into football owners, and this isn't a new thing. You've seen it with Bury and other clubs where people have mismanaged. There's plenty of clubs, that need to get promoted or need to be playing at a certain level. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. Um, and plenty of owners are then just down tools at Sheffield Wednesday as well. These people to be in control of football clubs, it's remarkable that they get to this point. But that being said, they were celebrating.
yeah, they were.
That was their wee golden nugget. We've still got that. We're going to be scrapping relegation in League One, but we've still got that. Remember the days of Leroy Lita and Dave Kitson?
Nah, fuck Leroy Lita. Fuck that cunt. No. I'm not remembering him anytime soon. Don't worry.
But yeah, so I think the other big mention in terms of results in the Prem, certainly for me, that stood out was A man that we are very well acquainted with, a certain Australian, that took his side to Villa Park and beat a very, very good Villa team,
Yeah.
wedged in between two goals either side. There was a really strange red card for John McGinn as well. I'm not.
I haven't seen the red card. Was it? Was
It
it?
just,
Was it
it's
that
just,
bad?
it looks like it. It's kind of. I think it's a red card. He's lost his head. The guy's going past him. He's kind of coming to just kind of cynically foul him. But the way that he's come in, he's gone. His shin's kind of connected with the other guy's shin half up his leg. It sounds a lot worse. But when you watch it, week in week out, you see these kind of cynical fouls. Maybe not with that velocity, but I thought it was a harsh red card. And at that
Yeah.
point, Spurs just obviously swarmed all over him. I think they scored 4 second half goals.
Yeah, they really did punish them that second half.
And
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I think all the goals came in the second half. But no, I didn't see the red card. But from the way you described it, it felt like it was one of those that could have been given either way. Like on
yeah,
another day, it would have been given a
if he,
yellow.
if he books him, I don't think the. Well, I don't know if he. I maybe make myself look stupid here, but I would have thought if he'd have booked him, VAR wouldn't have told him to go and review it. I don't know if that has happened. I haven't seen it, but I would be wanting an explanation as to, where does that warrant the review? How is that clear and obvious error? But ultimately a great result for Tottenham, and that pulls them right back on the coattails of Villa. I think they're only a couple of points off them with the game in hand, or maybe 3 off them with the game in hand. So opens up the race for
Yeah, no, it does. It does
fourth.
absolutely open up the race. I mean, I think there's no. It's hard to have a debate over whether it's a red card or a yellow card because we've observed the lack of consistency over the last. I mean, not even the last season, the last 2 or 3, when it comes to the deciding factor whether or not it's a red card or it's not. And but in terms of the actual result, it definitely puts Tottenham back in the running for that top 4 and to even chase down Villa, game in hand in their favour. I feel Postecoglou's got a lot of his first team players back from injury with the likes of Van der Ven,
I think he went off.
Madison. He's got Pedro Porro back.
I think Van der Ven went off injured, which is big for them
Well,
because
that fucking aged well, didn't it?
he's a massive part to how they play. But yeah, they seem to be clicking into that kind of earlier season form.
No, they are, and that's going to
At
be
the right
huge.
time.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for them approaching the latter stages of the season because I feel Postecoglou has completely revolutionised not even the team at Tottenham, but the whole mentality and the excitement around.
And they didn't want him, ungrateful bastards.
I know, right? They always say
You're welcome.
yeah, yeah. I'll let you take that. Look, a huge result to go to Villa Park, to one of the best teams in the Premier League this season, and again, this is a team that once upon a time went 16 games unbeaten at Villa Park this season.
Yeah, great result.
Really, really incredible result for Spurs, and so. I backed them the whole way. Especially since Ange took over. I really wanted the best for him after he left Celtic.
We knew that they were going to play exciting football, which is something that hasn't been at that club for a while under Mourinho.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Even on the big names like
they were going to play
and
exciting football. I want to veer off very quickly because I don't think we've spoken about this. Maybe not at all, very passingly. But Harry Kane, he's got on a plane. He said, I want to go win trophies. He's landed in Bayern. He's landed in Munich, not in Bayern. It's not a place. I appreciate it. He's landed in Munich.
Landed in the wrong Bayern at this rate, doesn't he?
Doesn't look like he's going to win a trophy.
He got off to a tough start with the German Super Cup. He lost that.
Fucked it to Leipzig. I don't know about the German Cup or the Deutsche Pokal, whether they're still cutting about in that. But they're not going to win the league. Now it's all down to the Champions League. Harry Kane, he's never going to win a trophy.
Oh, just retire, isn't it?
he's never going to win a trophy.
Just retire.
I mean,
go back to Tottenham, win the Aldi Cup, and you'll feel better about yourself.
Xabi Alonso is absolutely doing his best job interview for the big job in front of the Kop.
Well, I was going to say he's got to be the heir to the throne of Jurgen Klopp, hasn't he?
Oh,
I think it fits so well, doesn't it?
I don't know if I see like on the fairy tale story behind it fitting. I think his formation is very different, and I think the way that he plays is similar in some aspects, but not an absolute glove fit to how Liverpool play at the moment. So that there'll be some changes, but I mean when you look at the market.
Will those changes prove to be positive though? Because, I mean, in all fairness, I think Liverpool have performed well this season, but is that behind the fact that Klopp is going in the season?
They've been doing good.
Is there a sense of emotion behind it? Will they really embrace this change that Xabi could potentially bring to Liverpool?
I think he'll get time because of the success he's had on Merseyside as a player. So I think he will get time. Liverpool fans characteristically give time. If you look at the likes of when Klopp come in, he wasn't pulling up any trees with league positions. They give him that time. They believed in him, and obviously it's paid dividends. So I think he will get time. But I think, again, with the owners, Liverpool are very robust in the market. They're losing Salah, and it kind of becomes more clear why Liverpool didn't cash on him for the 200 million that was rumoured from Saudi, because Jurgen only had one more season. And they've
there's a lot of layers behind that.
But again,
that was fantastic money for Salah.
But he's stepping into that midfield now that's been rebuilt under Klopp. The attacking prowess of Diaz and Jota, and even Nunes, not as an out-and-out striker, but the vocal presence he gives.
He's found his feet, and the emergence of Szoboszlai, who I think has been a fantastic coup for Liverpool.
Yeah. So, interesting. Will he be a success? Only time will tell. But the job he's done at Leverkusen, first time in Leverkusen's history, if they get this over the line, that they've ever won the Bundesliga.
First time they've won the Bundesliga ever.
If they go on to do it, yeah.
Oh boy, no pressure, Xabi boy.
Yeah, it's not over yet because we see Dortmund shit the bed last year. But yeah, it would be huge. And God love Harry Kane.
God love Harry Kane.
Struggled to win a tenner on the lottery, that boy.
Mate. You know what? I don't know why this has really crossed my mind, but I may have a theory as to why Cardiff beat Ipswich on Saturday. I had a pigeon shit on my shoulder on Friday on the way to work.
That's it, yeah. That must have been it.
That was definitely it. Sorry, 2 goals in added time. It doesn't get better than that.
I mean, that feels like an absolute...
I'm walking into work, looking at my shoulder, going, what the fuck's this weekend going to bring?
That is the bombshell to finish on, isn't it?
It really is.
We've gone from Xabi Alonso to record-breaking heights to a Swedish pigeon shitting on your shoulder.
Mayhem! What an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for joining me this evening.
No problem, mate.
Ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, we are available to check out on all audio platforms. You can check all episodes out over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, etc. If you'd like to see our beautiful faces on the live recordings, go on over to YouTube at our YouTube channel at the Football Booth. Whilst you're over there, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and Nostar.